Sharon Barnes-Waters, and welcome to CityViews. Well, this year we lost someone that we call an icon, a legend, a humanitarian, an activist, a civil rights leader, the greatest of all times. And yes, that was Muhammad Ali. Now, there's a song that says, "Let the works I've done speak for me. When I'm buried in my grave and there's nothing left to say, may the works that I've done speak for me." And so the works and the legacy of Muhammad Ali continues to be honored, and there's a wonderful exhibition coming to Brooklyn at the Richard Beavers Gallery, and it's an exhibition by artist Leroy Campbell, and I love the title of this. It's called "The Fight Continues." And so I want to welcome Richard Beavers, the owner of the Richard Beavers Gallery, which is in the heart of Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and renowned artist Leroy Campbell. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, Richard, your gallery has had so many wonderful exhibits over its 9-year history. What was it about this one that you said, you know what, I got to have this in my gallery, it's got to come here, it's got to come to the community? What was it about this one?
It came from a conversation with Leroy and myself. We wanted to do something to celebrate the fighting spirit of Muhammad Ali. And when we discussed it and we came up with the concept, we wanted it to be very innovative. Okay. You know, typically you see portraits of Muhammad Ali. And we talked about getting away from that, but focusing more on what he represented. You know, how he was unapologetically black, how he used his platform to speak out against injustice, being more than an athlete. And when you look at Leroy's work, his work is silhouetted figures, but he also has a series called the Newspaper Series, where he takes newspapers and quotes and collages them into the artwork. So that concept, you know, tied into Muhammad Ali and his legacy was what really stood out to me, because I knew it was going to be uniquely and distinctively different.
And Leroy, this is how you described yourself. "I am an artist who believes that art can influence, inspire, and encourage dialogue. I believe that art heals, breaks down stereotypes, and advocates diversity." So then how did you come about this body of work? What was the concept? How did you start to think about it and what you were going to create?
Well, listening to your monologue was a perfect segue. One of the quotes, you know, I fuse a lot of inspirational messages in the background, but, you know, typically the body of work, the ongoing body of work, has been fusing history with art. But one of the quotes that's in one of the pieces is that we all die. The point is not to live forever, but to leave something behind that will
last.
That will last.
Yeah, beyond the grave.
Exactly.
Yes.
So as an artist, my message has always been, you know, when you've been given a blessing, a gift in terms of your passion, and your passion has been rewarding for you, one of the most important things that you use it to inspire and uplift other people. That's one of the greatest reward. Speaking about Muhammad Ali, the man is so full with so many layers. So when you look at over 17 pieces of work that's on display, you'll see the many layers represented in the work. You'll see nostalgic scenes of people in everyday life, but in the backdrop, you'll see some of his quotes from Muhammad Ali that inspires individuals. You'll see some of the iconic fight posters, the turning point, but you'll also see activist messages from so many people from the global community, and all of that serves to as a catalyst to help put people in contact with their center of power. So when you come to the show, prepare to spend some time, because you're going to read, be inspired, get history, and also identify with your Muhammad Ali spirit, too. That's the same spirit that we're celebrating of this iconic figure. He's also an ancestor now.
So how long did it take you to put all of this together?
Well, it's a lot of research goes in it. So it could take, this show took over a couple of months to produce.
Because you guys were you both collaborating on it, or how did that process go?
I would call Richard about certain things, like, for instance, when I spoke to Richard about the piece that's on behind me, which is called Off the Ropes. And I said to him, I wanted to do this classroom scene, but I want to put these children and the teacher inside the ring to show that we still have to fight to be educated on so many levels. And so when that piece started, it took a while to do research, you know, find articles, find inspirational quotes. Everything has to be cohesive. So it's a process, and then the color palette process has to take time. Sometimes I had to change the colors on this piece maybe almost like several times, because it's like trying not to paint yourself into a corner.
You wanted to get it right.
Yeah, so everything has to be in harmony, just like the man himself. You know, he fought, but at the end of everything he did, it seems like there was a harmonious intention. And that's the same spirit that I had to bring to the work. And it took quite some time to stay true to that and stay loyal to that.
So Richard, as I said, you've had so many exhibits, wonderful exhibits in your gallery. Do you bring in schools? Do you bring in the next generation to teach them things, lessons that people like Muhammad Ali has taught over the year? What is it you want to accomplish with the community, and especially children, this next generation?
Absolutely. We have classes that come out, schools that come out to the gallery. You know, really important to expose children from the inner city to art. Typically, they may not have an opportunity to have access to go to an art gallery, and to especially go into a gallery where you see images of children of color being depicted in the art. A lot of times, you know, when I was growing up, that wasn't something that was normal.
Right.
You didn't see that on an average basis. When we went to museums or other cultural institutions, a lot of times you didn't see that. So even in the body of work that Leroy created, and especially the classrooms with the children sitting at the desk with the parent or the teacher standing over them, working with them, there's an educational lesson there for young people to come in, because now they look at the newspaper clippings and the quotes that are collaged into the artwork. So we're speaking to them on various different levels. So there's a traditional education that you get in school, but there's also that education that has to come from the home and come from the community. Knowledge of self, having a strong understanding of your history, you know, which African American history is American history, and it's all, you know, intertwined and tied in together.
Because I think it was you, Leroy. Oh no, I think it was Richard that said the fighting spirit is ancestral. It's in our DNA.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's in every single one of our DNA. A lot of times we don't realize it. It's been suppressed, but it's there. If you look at throughout the history of the circumstances and the things that our people have had to endure, the fight is still there. That fire is still there. And that's the correlation between Muhammad Ali and the average person in the community every day, is that he is us and we are him.
And many people are walking and living and using that same fighting spirit. We just don't know who they are, but they know who they are, and they're walking with it. And so we want to not only acknowledge that, but we also want to use that as a catalyst for other people to acknowledge their own Muhammad Ali.
Because there's one piece that I saw that you did, and it's of a woman. You just see the lips, darkened face, and newspaper clippings, and some of the things just kind of jumped out at me. And because you have women past and present on this collage, and it's pain is temporary, quitting lasts forever. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. So for, you know, there's so much going on in our society now, and you're saying that the fight continues. How are we fighting today? Muhammad Ali fought all his life, did a great job. What's the fight for us today, and how will this exhibit help us with stuff like this, these quotes?
Well, one of the things I believe is one of the most important fights is finding a way to make your spirit harmonious, and to use that harmony to connect with other like spirits and like mind. So when we're able to fuse together a group of people or create this movement of harmony, then we can create the narrative for how to navigate and use it as a center of power to deal with the times. I think this time there's a lot of, you know, it's a time for introspective, but it's a time to help each other fight on the platform they are. It's not a time to criticize, to challenge or knock what you're doing. It's a time for me to say, how are you fighting for this one cause, for the same cause, and how can I help you fight that cause? I might not fight it that way from my perspective, but I can help you. So at this point right now, a family approach, right, to dealing with any type of negative, anything that threatens that negative spirit, everyone has to come together, bring a dish to the table so that we all can feed off of it.
So people from other communities, other races can glean from
and be part of it.
And learn from, so you don't, okay, it's in Bed-Stuy, it's Muhammad Ali, and it's the fight continues with African Americans, or are we all included?
Well, in the background of all the pieces, some of the quotes are not just black. Some of the quotes are from Muslims, from Native American Indians, from whites, any truth sayer, any person that's interested in bringing about harmony and truth is all collage in the background, because that's the humanitarian spirit that lives in Muhammad Ali. It's just that I'm presenting it from my perspective, from an African American perspective, saying that there's still an alliance that needs to be had. So when you look at the work, you might come in the room. I was just on a cruise last week. You know what I ate? Mexican food, Italian food,
right.
You know, and I felt good, and I still had Southern food, but it didn't change the fact that we were all one, moving in the same direction. So when you come to the show, be prepared to engage and be fed by the world community, using inspirational quotes, messages to inspire one thought, one harmony. Listen, negativity is short-lived. It can't last forever. Right. Harmony is long-lasting. But my whole thing is to fight against, people tend to remember the negative longer than remember the positive.
Yes.
Well, I have been on the opposite end. I remember the positive, and I refuse to live in the negative. So this,
it just hurts you.
Yeah, just like Muhammad Ali, he was about the positive, but he was unapologetic and deliberate and determined to fight against disharmony and anything that
because he was a
your
global
spirit.
ambassador.
He was a
He was
global
a total global ambassador.
Exactly.
And this is what this show is
what
bringing
the show
to the
is all
table.
about.
It's what it's all about.
It's a global message. Listen, I was in Turkey and did a creative workshop for 120 disadvantaged girls. The government sent me over there. They want me to come back in March. So I know there's from this perspective, this global community all wants the same thing. So that's what we're appealing to, and we are acknowledging that Muhammad Ali is the blueprint for this time that we're in right now. So that should be the most proactive aspect of where I think we need to be. And because after the election is over, guess what? You're going to go right back to work. You're going to go right back to doing what you've been doing. You're going to have to still live the everyday life and interact with each other at the gas station, wherever you are. So be deliberate about being neighborly. Be deliberate about acknowledging each other with a kind word. People want it. People are there. There's so much more of people like that.
Being positive.
The positive than negative.
Yes.
But if we feed the negative, guess what? The negative becomes the propaganda and the narrative, and that's a lie. Because every day when people lay down on their bed and they get up feeling like, I just want to have a good day. I just want to live my life. I want to enjoy each other. And so that's really to me, that is the way forward, and that's what I'm staying with. And you know what? It works. It's easy to be neighborly. I was on the train just this morning. Asked a young lady, am I at the right stop? She said, no, not yet. So I thought she was going to forget about me. You know what she did? When it came up to the next, she said, you know what, your stop is coming up next.
Nice, yeah.
It didn't matter that she was a white woman. It didn't matter that I was a stranger. It mattered that she felt my humanity and my spirit to be able to be kind to me. I almost didn't read when I got my token, I looked at it and said, no
Metro
bills,
card.
Metro card. Oh, I'm still back in all day. Somebody help me, and you've got to be deliberate. Every person's got to be deliberate about putting that message out, and before you know it, you'll say, oh, we're really not angry with each other.
Right.
We're really not trying to go after each other. We really are a positive global community that wants the same thing, wants to love and enjoy our families, and we want to enjoy each other, and we want to make the better good for the community. We have to live in this country together.
I think, Leroy, also what's important too is that every community has to have a voice.
Right.
And there are so many social and political issues that are in the forefront of society today. And it's important for artists like Leroy to have that platform.
Yes.
Because there are so many people who don't have a platform to scream out and to speak out against some of the injustices that are taking place in society. And when you come out and you see the body of work and the series that Leroy has composed and put together, he's touching on all of these issues. So I think what it does too is when we have people from all different walks of life and ethnicities that come out to the gallery, it brings about the topic of discussion.
Right.
These are so many things that people feel
people
uncomfortable to talk about.
We got to become comfortable real fast.
And then how many instances are we really in the same place to even have that conversation?
Right. And this is a place where we can all
work.
come together.
Yeah, we can't do that work. We're not doing it,
Yeah.
in our churches, So one of the things that we say is, don't allow your political views, don't allow your religion, don't allow your social class, your individuality. Let's come together on a common cause, and let's deal with humanity.
Exactly.
Okay. And I want to ask each of you, just give me a sentence or two, your thoughts about Muhammad Ali. What you thought about him. Give me a sentence or two. I'll start with you, Richard.
Wow, it's 2 words, and it's the shortest poem ever in history, and it's I, me.
You stole my thunder.
I, me.
Wow. Wow. He stole your thought. You have another one?
2 words.
Doesn't have to be 2 words.
No, it have to be 2, 2
Give me a
words for
sentence.
Muhammad Ali. Wow.
It could be more than 2 words. It could be a
Okay,
sentence.
for me, it's love of humanity, love of self, and love of God.
Wow. Wow. Well, this is a great exhibition coming. The fight
The fight continues.
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 And Richard, can you tell us where your gallery is, how long this exhibition is going to be going on, where people can go to, do we get
Absolutely.
tickets?
Yes.
And then, Leroy, can you tell us after, can we get copies of this artwork? You can tell us. So first, you
Oh,
tell us about
okay.
the exhibition, or can we buy the actual artwork?
The gallery is Richard Beavers Gallery. We're located in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. The address is 408 Marcus Garvey Boulevard. Our website is richardbeaversgallery.com. The opening for the exhibition is Saturday, November 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. And then Sunday, November 6th from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to have an artist discussion and talk with Leroy. And then right after that, he's going to do a book signing. And the exhibition will be on display until December 10th.
Okay.
of
And the book is
2016.
called My Authentic Self, which is very much in keeping with the Muhammad Ali spirit.
Authentic Self.
And on display, we will have over, say, 12, 13 originals, and we'll have maybe 3 or 4 limited edition prints that are available, and you can get all that at Richard Beavers Art Gallery.
Oh, wow. And where can we get your book?
We can get my book at Richard Beavers Art Gallery.
Can we go online? Yeah.
As well as you go online, for those who may not be in town and be able to get to Richard Beavers Gallery, you can go to Leroy Campbell's Originals with an S.com, and you can order the book. But we'd like for you to come to the gallery if you're in town and have it signed. And
Are you going to take it on the road?
person.
We were just
We were talking about that.
It's
This
an
Muhammad Ali
ongoing series.
it's evolving, it's developing. This is a collection I have never done or seen. So we plan to do a coffee table book. So
Okay.
each piece has already been documented, and we think that this series, this body of work, should travel because it's introspective. It's challenging people to be a part of something now, to live in the present moment. It's not just you can't just come and say, oh, that's the, it's there for art collectors, it's there for people who are art lovers, it's all of that, but it's introspective and it's inspiring, it's motivating, and it's educational. So that alone requires a traveling experience. I just want the world and the world community to experience what we've done, and it's ongoing. We have a boxing bag that we put some negative quotes on there. We got the 2 boxing gloves that I painted on 2 kids on the boxing glove claw. We wear the crown. I'm working on an assemblage piece where you have the speed bag and the actual vintage boxing plug, the American flag, and maybe some multiracial children at the bottom to appeal to his humanity. So and he's doing a rope. He's putting a ring.
Yeah.
The more we
So we
do,
want it to be
the more you're
multi-sensory.
adding,
the more
as
it's
it
just
goes along
evolved. It's a
slowly.
creative,
evolving.
just like Muhammad Ali. He just kept evolving and kept unfolding.
and I'm sure
We have a
that
music
even
director who's working on a
music,
soundtrack,
yeah.
so that you.
So there's
have,
so much more to this than-
Everything
there's
that
so much.
the
It's
multi-layered that the man is
what-
multi-layered that the
that your show is.
is.
So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you.
Thank you, too.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Leroy. Just appealing to our viewers to go and see this wonderful exhibition by Leroy, and it's in Richard's art gallery in the heart of Bed-Stuy. You're going to learn a lot, and it's going to spark a lot of discussion. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
us.
Appreciate you.
It's been an honor.